Well, good morning, everyone. I didn't hear. Thank you. We're going to have a conversation today, so get ready. I am super excited to be here today. We are the architects, the engineers, the builders, the innovators, and the stewards of our nation's future. We are the ones who literally lay the foundations for progress. But let me ask you this. What if I told you that nearly half of all the projects we undertake, the very backbone of our capital programs, go over time and budget? What if I told you that a staggering 28% of project time is wasted on rework and another 18% is spent simply searching for data? These aren't just numbers on a slide. They represent billions of dollars, countless hours, and immense frustration. They represent a productivity gap that in the US alone costs our economy an estimated $2.8 trillion. This is the reality we face today in the construction industry, including our critical federal programs. I am Dr. Irish Horsey, and I'm the Director of Industry Advancement at Procore. And I am thrilled to be here with you at Elevate, a conference that's dedicated to lifting our industry to new heights. So today, we're going to talk about how we don't just elevate, but how we fundamentally transform. So federal capital programs are the bedrock of our nation's infrastructure, from vital transportation networks to secure government facilities and critical energy projects. Yet, the challenges facing these programs are escalating. We are grappling with an aging infrastructure that demands urgent attention, often with increasingly complex project scopes. But perhaps the most pressing challenge is the one that's staring us down every day: the shrinking skilled workforce. This year, my company, Procore, published the Future State of Construction report to better understand the current state of construction and its future. More than 1,200 construction decision makers globally from the US and 7 other countries were surveyed and interviewed to create the report. The report revealed that labor concerns are the most cited challenge for construction companies, and this is according to the State of Construction survey that we used during the report. This has created an opportunity for seismic shifts in how we define, attract, and retain the future workforce. I want you to consider these stark realities. Many were highlighted in the Future State of Construction report. The construction industry is facing a demographic cliff. The Construction Labor Market Analyzer projects that industry will lose almost 60% of its existing craft workforce over the next 11 years. And with a quarter of that loss having occurred at the end of just 2024. Think about that. More than half of our experienced hands, our institutional knowledge, walking out the door in just over a decade. Procore's research further underscores this, showing that 53% of construction workers are expected to retire by 2036. And this isn't just about the numbers. It's about a critical missing middle, a significant gap of workers between the age of 7 and 15 years of experience in our industry. This creates a void between entry-level talent and seasoned veterans. This impacts mentorship, knowledge transfer, and overall project efficiency. So, I'd like to do a quick pulse check and pose 2 questions to the audience. I told you this was going to be a conversation. So, first, by show of hands, have any of you worked on federal projects where the lack of skilled workers directly impacted project timelines or quality? I see a couple of heads nodding. Okay, a few hands up. Great. Second question. This question is for everyone, but I specifically would like to hear from some of the builders in the room. We have some microphones that'll be floating around, and the question is, what's one thing you wish federal agencies would do differently regarding technology adoption to make capital projects more efficient? I'll repeat the question. What's one thing you wish federal agencies would do differently regarding technology adoption to make capital projects more efficient? One thing. Any builders in the audience? Okay, we have a Jennifer right here in the maroon. There you go.
I guess I would like a little bit of clarification of what you're aiming for an answer. I think that it's trying to understand where you're trying to unlock the federal
question? Yeah. So the question is, what's one thing you wish federal agencies would do differently regarding technology adoption to make capital projects more efficient? One thing that I would like to see differently, because I did have the opportunity of working in the private sector, is adopting the latest in technology to help us build our projects more efficiently. If government agencies would use some of the latest construction management software that's out there, I think that there's an opportunity for us to build better, to manage our project controls better, to manage our paperwork better. Does that help?
It does, thank you. So beyond that, which I fully agree and support your comment there, I would say also allowing the technology in the spaces. So many of the federal projects have tight restrictions where we can't use half of the technology that we have, right? So we've already found ways of being efficient, and unfortunately those project types do not allow us to use those efficiencies.
So because of limitations and security issues, not being able to use the technology in the spaces. Great response. What's another one? Okay, good, now we're talking. We have someone up front.
I think one of the things that's missing is flexibility in the projects. To be able to try the new technologies, and if they don't work, switch them mid-project. But most of the specifications don't allow that, and bringing in the technology. Yeah, flexibility. Technology is changing every day. And so I completely get that, being able to make adjustments when necessary and pivoting, absolutely. What's another one? In the back we have.
Hi, I guess mainly readjusting workflows and checks and balances to the natural progression of where technology is at this time. So if you can get accurate quantities at 30%, why are we waiting to involve contractors at 60 or 70% when we could be doing it much earlier?
Yeah, just because we've been doing things the same way for so long doesn't mean that we can't adjust and operate more efficiently. Totally get that. Any more? Oh, one up here.
Hi, thank you. I would say to promote interoperability standards because agencies don't talk to each other. So being able to have like a share like APIs where like one organization can get information from the other one without passing through governments or just like a standard data for everyone.
Yeah, more collaboration amongst the stakeholders, absolutely. Well, thank you all for your response. And as I thought, this is a shared challenge, and it's why we are here today. As federal agencies face growing pressure to deliver the fewer skilled workers, technology isn't just a nice to have. It's becoming absolutely essential. It's essential to closing the ever-widening gap that we are facing, and this is not a new problem for government agencies. I know this because I've had the privilege, as I mentioned, of working as a construction manager in both the public and private sectors. And I've seen firsthand how a lack of resources can create challenges that seem insurmountable. I can remember working on a capital improvement project where years ago, we were still using paper blueprints, manually logging changes, and sending everything via courier. There was no innovative construction technology available internally within our organization to help me manage our projects more effectively. However, the contractors that we hired used the latest in technology, and this created another problem, quite frankly, because we didn't have the compatible software to match. We couldn't, the technology could not talk to each other, and we were using Excel spreadsheets. So the frustration just wasn't in the inefficiency, it was in the knowledge that we had brilliant, dedicated people who were being held back by the lack of access to modern tools. I knew this full well because I came to the public sector from private industry, and I worked for a leading professional AEC services company, and my team and I had the latest in construction technology at our fingertips, so I knew there was a better way, and this frustrated me even more. The project team, despite their best efforts and expertise, was constantly playing catch up, and every day it felt like a personal failure for this team, even when it was the system itself that was broken. However, labor concerns are not the only challenge the building industry is facing. One of the construction industry's top challenges is the slow adoption of technology, and the federal sector, is no exception. This isn't because of lack of will, it's a mindset issue. The old way of doing things with siloed data and manual processes, it's what many of us have known for years. But staying in that comfort zone is no longer an option. A mind shift change is required, moving from simply completing a project to building an intelligent, interconnected, and data-driven ecosystem around it is where we're headed. This is why the adoption of project management technology is not just about efficiency. It's about the essential needs we have for the future of our federal capital projects. By embracing a unified platform approach, we create a single source of truth for all project stakeholders. So, the buzzword is AI. So let's talk about it. Let's look at the state of AI in construction. It is no longer a futuristic concept. Companies are using it right now, but what are they using it for and how are they using it? Well, I'll tell you a couple of ways. One, they're using it for predictive analytics. And predictive analytics, this is where AI analyzes historical product data to forecast potential delays or cost overruns, allowing teams to intervene proactively. Another way is using generative AI, which is my favorite. And this is where tools can draft RFIs, meeting minutes, and change order requests, freeing up project managers from administrative burdens. When I was a young project engineer, I really wish I had generative AI when I had to create a submittal log. It would have been really helpful. Automated progress tracking is also another tool. This is where AI-powered software can analyze drone imagery or job site photos to automatically track progress and flag potential issues, which is far more efficient than manual inspections. So, by a show of hands, and there's no shame here, how many of you are currently using AI as part of your daily operations at work? Oh, yay, good, great. How are you using it? Okay, we have a hand right here. She's gonna, so everybody can hear.
Thank you. Note taking. For sure.
Note taking, yes. Oh my goodness, saves so much time. Okay.
Yeah. I have to wait for the microphone. Besides minutes and note-taking, we also use it for analytics on our sales, and we have a tool that helps us search all our Microsoft products for that email we can't remember, or was it a folder, or what was that? I know these 3 words, find it for me.
Okay, data analytics. How else are we using?
We have an AI tool available to members to access technical data that's been published by our organization.
Yes. I saw some more hands over here. Something different. Okay, well, for those of you who are not using it, what are you waiting on? Well, guess what? I'm gonna help you out. We're gonna do a quick exercise right now, and I'm telling you, it's gonna change your life. So I brought my handy dandy iPhone up here for you analog people. I'm sorry, but you'll make it work, I'm sure. At any rate, if you have your cellular device or an iPad, computer, whatever you have, let's take it out for a moment. So a number of you raised your hand and said that you are currently using AI. So if you can pull up your AI app that you're currently using. For me, I use ChatGPT in my personal life, and at work, I use Gemini. If you don't happen to have an AI app downloaded on your phone, that's okay. Just look at our neighbor's phone, or you can go directly to Google Gemini and do this exercise in the prompt on the screen. Are you ready? I'm just gonna give a sneak peek at how AI could change your life for those of you. I'm trying to sell you today. All right, so what we're gonna do is, let's say we're working in procurement and we wanna create an RFP for a new federal government building. Okay, for those of you not quite as familiar with AI is only as good as the information that you feed it. So a lot of people who have the misconception that, oh, AI is gonna take over my job and it's gonna take over the world, that's not true. It needs us to help it work. And so the more detailed we can be, the more information we can provide, the better responses we're gonna get. So, and I'm gonna do this with you. So if you're in your app right now, we're gonna ask it to create an RFP for a new federal government building in Washington, D.C. And I'm gonna leave it up to you to add some details, and then we're gonna share. I'll give you a few minutes. Oh, and if you haven't used AI before, when you're typing in your prompt, you have to hit like send after so it can generate what you're looking for. And just so I know kind of where you guys are, just like kind of just raise your hand or look up so I'll see when you're done. Okay. He gets the prize. He gets the prize for today. Absolutely. Still see some heads down. I'll give you guys a few more minutes. Well, you guys are like really into this. I feel like I'm in class with my students. It's not an exam. Okay, well, I'm going to start. So, and we'll share around the room. I'd like to see what you came up with, and I'd really like to hear from some of the folks who raised their hands and said that they weren't using AI. So for me, I entered, please create an RFP for a new federal government building in Washington, D.C. The building is a multi-story sustainable building. We're looking for a construction manager to manage the project. The building will take 2 years to build, and the cost is $100 million. The CM must be based in D.C. as well as the architect. Be sure to include flow-down language typically used for federal bid solicitations. And oh my gosh, AI is so responsive and so supportive. It said, got it. I'll draft an RFP response outline for your new federal government building in Washington, D.C. And I'll include the standard federal solicitation structure, sustainable building requirements, CM services, flow-down clauses, and typical federal languages. Here is my draft RFP. It even put the solicitation number with, a space for me to do it, and the issuing agency. And the first section is a solicitation contract form with just basically general verbiage for an RFP. This is a request for information, a request for proposal for construction management services to oversee the design and construction of a new multi-story federal building located in DC. It gave the cost, it gave the duration, and it gave the place. But here's where it got really good. It had a section B for supplies or services and prices and costs. It said the contractor shall provide CM services to support the design, construction, and delivery of new federal building. The CM will serve as the owner's representative to manage schedule quality and compliance with the federal sustainable standards. It gave a statement of work. The U.S. government intends to construct a new multi-story sustainable federal building in Washington, D.C. The facility will be designed to meet or exceed LEED Gold certification and all applicable federal standards, including EO 1057, Guiding Principles for Federal Sustainable Buildings and Energy Independence and Security Act requirements. It even listed a more detailed scope of services about the CM and the AE and where they need to be located, and it gave a section for special requirements. The construction manager must have a primary office located in Washington, D.C., period of performance, and then flow down language. It actually listed terminology from FAR terms in relation to solicitations. So it also even, and I didn't even ask it to do this, provide the proposal submission instructions, which we need, right? A detailed technical proposal with X amount of pages, a staffing plan, evidence of past performance experience. I basically have a pretty good start on an RFP for my federal project. Did anybody else have a good result? Okay, I see some hands, I see some heads nodding. All right, let's share. Who wants to share? Don't be shy. Okay, I am going to do how I do my students. The lady in the blue nodded her head, so let's talk.
I liked that my RFP incorporated a LEED certification as one of the requirements, among other sustainable building principles.
Good. Someone else. Someone who had not been using AI. And I knew it was somebody over here because I saw you raise your hand. So if you hadn't been using it, what do you think about it, at least now? Please respond. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you.
Well, first, I want to echo the excitement of a LEED certified building. I'm Sade Dennis with the U.S. Green Building Council. And so it isn't that I don't use the AI every day. Mm-hmm. Of course, we are always concerned about the use of anything that will consume an inordinate amount of energy, et cetera.
Right.
But to your point about putting good information in, I think it's really important. And we also should consider to ensure that bias is not embedded within the use of AI. And so I know that as we're using AI, we're also training the model. It would be so nice if it could be democratized and be able to pay us back because we're making it smarter, we're not being compensated, which is another issue. However, but it is an amazing tool that is here to stay.
Yeah.
I think it's important that we understand how to use it in our work, so thank you.
No, thank you for sharing. I agree 100%. Okay, lady in the back.
So along those same lines, I was kind of curious as we were going through this exercise. I'm not an expert in the generation of federal RFPs for work. I'm kind of curious if anybody in the room does work in that space. Are you regularly generating RFPs? Oh, man. I was hoping to see where people saw gaps in what the response was that they got. I'm not knowledgeable enough to be able to observe that. So I don't even know how I would improve the model based on what I was seeing there. So to your point, I was curious if we could investigate that.
Yeah, and you know, without having the example here, what we could have done is literally take an RFP that may have been similar to the one that we did and upload it into AI and say, please craft an RFP based on this template and putting the specific data. And I would suspect that a lot of the gaps that we have here, of course we only have a few minutes, may have been eliminated. Okay, oh, right here.
So I have one question. You're only as good as the underlying documentation, but we're quickly coming to a point where you're only as good as the prompts that you develop. So should organizations be conscious in developing standardized language for prompts? That way that'll get them consistent, repeatable results each and every time.
100%. I can give an example just recently at work. I work for a construction tech company, so they're all over the technology. Now, granted, I don't work on the product side, but our CEO, every other word out of his mouth is AI, AI. Use AI to help your workflows do better. Use AI to save time. Use AI for this. Use AI for that. Because I'm a director and I have people who report directly to me, and some of you may have experienced creating performance reviews. In our management tools was a prompt for our performance reviews for our staff, and it gave us the language to use our internal AI system to create our performance reviews. All I did was took my staff's personal assessments. I asked for feedback from other people, stakeholders that they work with. I included that feedback, and I also included the goals that we had established for the first half of the year. And I gave it 2 questions. Where does this employee need to focus for the next half of the year? And the second question was, what contributions did they make on the first half of the year? Generated a perfectly written performance assessment. And I read it, and I had done one myself just to see kind of what the comparison was going to be. It was almost verbatim. I mean, I couldn't have written it better myself. So I have 5 staffs that report directly to me. I finished it in minutes. So prompts do help, and having a standard for those prompts actually really helped me with just even that example. Yes?
Something that I think is really helpful actually is I will give it everything that I need as far as prompting, and then I will ask it to draft its own prompt for itself.
Yeah.
I will then review that prompt and say, okay, well, we missed out a little bit here, you added something I didn't want there, now execute on that prompt. And I found that to be honestly the most effective prompting measure for myself.
Absolutely. It can even improve itself. But AI is just one technology that is changing how we build. What about the term digital twin? This isn't just a 3D model. A digital twin is a virtual real-time representation of a physical asset or system. It continuously pulls in data from sensors, drones, and project management platforms to provide a dynamic living model of the project from design through operation. This allows for what-if scenarios, performance analysis, and predictive maintenance long after the project is complete. I'll give you a practical example. In addition to being a practitioner, as I mentioned, I was also an academic. I was an assistant professor at a construction management at a university in the Atlanta metro area. I'm from Georgia, go Jackets, Georgia Tech. Okay, sorry, but this wasn't the school. I changed careers to pursue academia and was there for only a couple of years. The pandemic hit. Our department chair retired at the onset of the pandemic. He also did not want to use technology. He didn't want to do any online classes. And I came from a previous institution where I was the director of construction management. It was a 2-year school, and I was already creating online courses for my students. Most of my students worked, and I felt like our program needed more variety in our delivery options for our students. So when I got to this other university, definitely didn't have a mindset of let's use technology. A lot of the board members were like, I don't understand how you can teach blueprints on a computer. But even with that, COVID hit, the dean asked for an interim department chair. None of the seasoned faculty wanted to do it, so he asked me because of my experience. I had a couple of weeks to change our entire curriculum to online. Because remember, no students were in the classrooms, no teachers were on campus. Changed the entire curriculum. By fall, we had an online program. We had 400 students. At the end of the year, going into the following year, our student enrollment doubled to 800 students. Why? This is because of technology. Because of the mindset shift is why this happened. So, I want to take the time to show a quick video, but it's not advanced.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you faced on this job? This is one of our newest projects, so we're just starting up. But it's pretty typical of what we do at BW. You know, we're building offices now, and they're inspirational places that people want to come and collaborate together with. So we're building, effectively, cultures.
How does technology impact the way that you take care of your people?
Our aim is to build faster, build better quality, but also give people a better working life. So when they come to us, we want them to feel refreshed. So if we can take away a lot of those admin, repetitive tasks with technology, that is exactly what we want to do. I think it's really interesting to see how far we've come in a short space of time. You know, in the last 6 years, we've introduced so much technology that's really benefited the job site, such as VR, AR, and it's really been adopted so quickly.
Construction's been evolving for thousands of years, and if it hadn't changed, we don't get to where we are now, and if we don't continue to change, we don't take the next step.
How do you think about connecting technology together to connect the business?
I think one of the main things we go through when we're trying to win new work, we're going out to meet new clients, it's that demonstration of knowledge and experience that we have to put across. With all the information in one place, we can quickly pull together very detailed level of information to prove our experience in certain areas.
So using the Procore platform, we can share and distribute information with the client team, the design team, our subcontractors, and then implementing that actually out on site. In addition to that, our tower crane is the first in the UK to be remotely operated. The system enables the crane driver to see all-round vision.
Well, clearly this is a very, very complex job, and I just would have to ask you, like, how are you actually using technology to manage the complexity?
There can be up to 150 supply chain on each job. And then you've got the client and the consultant, wherever they may be in the world as well, which you need to bring together and connect using one platform. There's no way that we could achieve the quality and the finish and also meet the timescales that we require without technology.
And that's, I think, the highest calling is if we can leverage technology to enable people in the field, they shouldn't have to worry about technology. Technology should disappear and the information should enable them to do their job. And connecting people to technology is the future.
So the adoption of technology will not only help us build more efficiently, it could also be used as a recruitment tool. As we know, the federal workforce has to compete directly with the private sector for top talent. With a booming private construction market, federal agencies are at a disadvantage when it comes to attracting and retaining skilled professionals. But technology can change that. As part of my role at Procore, I serve the construction community, and we are leading with the industry to help solve its biggest challenges. We do this through technology and education, and one of our focus areas is on the future workforce. I share this with you because I want to show you how technology is necessary to attract our next generation of future builders. Just last week, I was in Napa, California, where we hosted a Procore Construction Education Day. We hosted nearly 100 students in an after-school event with the local chapter of the Boys and Girls Girls Club to give them insights on construction pathways. From robot dogs to drones to VR headsets, the kids were blown away about how technology could be used in construction. They had no idea. In fact, one little girl said this was the best day ever. And she said she couldn't wait to tell all her friends. And we've hosted several of these events this year. We even partnered with Turner Construction in Austin, Texas. And after participating in that particular event, one of the kids said, when I grow up, I want to be a project manager. So why do I share this story? I want to give you a timely example of how technology is critical to ensuring a future pipeline for careers in the built environment. And I want to show you another quick recap of this event last week. So trying to attract the next generation is extremely important in technology. I'm telling you, it's key to doing that. I travel all across the country, putting on events like this, partnering with organizations where we are trying to expose our youth way before even high school, in middle school, in fact, to pathways to construction careers. But that's our future pipeline. We can talk about our existing workforce right now. Additionally, prior to last week, the week before, I spoke at the National Association of Women in Construction's annual conference on the topic of construction technology and how it can be a catalyst for advancing a career in the industry. In my session, we focused on how technology is a game changer for advancement. The new roles in the modern construction landscape will require tech-savvy professionals to help with the digital transformation that the industry is facing. Why do I bring this up? I tell you, it's for a couple of reasons. Number one, I already mentioned that I didn't mention this, but our CEO of NIBS mentioned some statistics before. And he told us that we have a need for almost 500,000 people in the construction industry. Another statistic is that over a half of the construction workforce will be retiring in the next few years. And we learned that women make up over 50% of the overall workforce, and they only make up roughly 11 to 15% of the construction workforce. This means that there is an entire demographic we should be recruiting for our industry, and technology is the key to retention. This is why I wrote my book, because I know firsthand how rewarding a lucrative career for women can be. And I have to do my part to ensure that the construction workforce is a true reflection of the communities we serve. Another reason is that for the most part, working for the public sector can be an ideal opportunity for women. Research shows that women are the primary caregivers in most households. The stability of minimal travel associated with government work can be a major draw for women in the built environment. I'll give you a personal example. When I worked in the AEC industry, I left my private sector job to go work for government, and it was not because of the money. It was because my husband and I were starting our family, and I wanted to be home more. I was traveling from East to West Coast. Our headquarters was out in California. I lived in Atlanta. I got there, but I only stayed a couple of years, and I left. And I took a construction management job that was 15 minutes away from home, and that made my life much easier to go back to the hustle and bustle of the private industry because of the lack of resources and technology to do my job more efficiently. I just couldn't be excellent there because I didn't have the tools that I needed to do my job. And even though the attraction was the flexibility and the stability that was associated with government work, it just wasn't enough. So to do my job well, the technological resources that I needed would have been extremely helpful, and I probably would have stayed. But I bring this up because recruitment is also a challenge, but not just recruitment. Women are entering the construction industry more, but we also have a retention problem. And retention can be a challenge as well in the federal workforce if we are not using the technological tools that we need to keep them. I'm going to talk a little bit about the fact that the federal government relies heavily on outsourcing. A government executive report found that nearly all federal agencies outsource services, and contract labor is the most common form. The reality is the federal government relies heavily on outside contractors to execute its capital programs. Why? Because the outside contractors they can't compete. Well, they have the efficiency and the innovation and are often ahead of the curve with the technology and skilled labor. And of course, the government can't compete. The chart you see is a bar chart titled Federal Agency Outsourcing Trends. It shows that a significant majority of federal agencies outsource services, with contract labor being the most common form, and contract personnel for mission critical tasks is also high. So I wanted to show you a quick example of a federal project that used technology. This project is Ocola VA Hospital, which is out of Terre Haute, Indiana. In this project, it was a federally funded military project by the U.S. Corps of Engineers and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And its performance standards required an advanced level of coordination for all its mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and fire protection systems. This complexity made traditional paper-based methods obsolete. And by using a digital-first approach, every stakeholder was able to work from a single unified data set, and this ensured that every detail was aligned. The result wasn't just a successful project. It was a testament to how technology can empower teams to tackle even the most challenging projects. I'm gonna skip this video and start to wrap up. So what happens if we fail to act? Well, failure is not a problem. It is not an option. Let me be absolutely clear. The stakes couldn't be higher. If we fail to address this escalating workforce crisis, if we continue to operate with outdated methods while our skilled labor pool dwindles, the consequences will be catastrophic. The American Institute of Contractors warns that the industry is already short, again, 500,000 workers. This isn't just about project delays. 66% of firms already report project delays due to labor shortages, and 45% are forced to turn away work. This isn't about rising costs. It's about compromised quality, increased safety risk, and a fundamental inability to meet the demands of our nation's infrastructure needs. The World Economic Forum estimates that if we don't act decisively, the construction industry could lose a staggering $40 trillion in potential output by 2040. That's 40 trillion. This isn't just a challenge for our industry, it's a threat to our economic stability, our national security, and the very fabric of our communities. We cannot afford to let this happen. So in conclusion, what is the path forward? Well, to me, the path forward to the built environment is quite simple. Build better. We stand at a pivotal moment. The challenges of the construction shortages and productivity lags are real, but so are the immense opportunities presented by AI and innovation. By embracing these technologies, we can streamline operations, we can improve decision-making, extend capacity of our teams, and ultimately deliver federal capital programs with unprecedented efficiency and impact. This isn't just about building better infrastructure, It's about building a stronger, more resilient, and truly sustainable federal workforce. So let's commit to equipping our teams with the tools, the training, and the mindset to thrive in the new era of construction. I am a firm believer in this vision, and I believe you are too. As I mentioned, I wrote a book, and I wrote this book, shameless plug, because I know the importance of attracting future talent, and the future of our industry depends on attracting diverse talent, and I am passionate about creating an innovative and sustainable construction workforce. This book is the blueprint to empowering our next generation of builders. It includes future technological skills and roles that will be needed in the modern construction landscape, and a host of tools and references, and even a career mapping chart to the reader on their construction career journey. Every entry-level point you can think of, not just from high school, not just from college, if you're looking to change your career, if you've never worked in construction at all, if you're an entrepreneur, what do I do? And I literally lay out the plan for you. Programs, schools, certifications that you can consider. This is a great tool. And it will be forthcoming in the beginning of spring, first quarter, before Women's History Month. Other resources, I want to invite you to scan this code, and you can access a number of resources here. One being learn.procore.com. It's Procore's, my company's, free on-demand learning system where you can earn free continuing education units by taking any of these courses. The courses span from any topic in construction that you can think of. So I invite you to take a look at those. I also invite you to take a look at our Procore's Future State of Construction, where we specifically talk about the future workforce and what's going to be needed in their future with some customer testimonials. And then also think about the resource that's right here. Look at where we are. We are at the National Institute of Building Sciences. And as host of this conference, they provide critical leadership in advancing science and technology, and their resources are amazing. I also invite you to look at the Associated General Contractors and their website. They have a number of resources as well. So scan this QR code and you'll see links to all of these. Again, thank you so much for allowing me to be here today. Together, we build.